Communication has been at the forefront of DNA's problems. When the game was hacked on March 18, 2026, it was bad, but it's the lack of good communication afterwards that has been whittling down fans of the game. And since I'm a fan of the game in a unique position where I've been sponsored and therefore have connections to the staff, I decided to try to do something about it. I asked DNA if I could interview the devs and get them to talk about everything we wanted to know about balancing issues, the grinding, and yes, the hacks. To my surprise, the devs actually agreed, and DNA even agreed to sponsor this video. So thank you to Duet Night Abyss for sponsoring this video, but as you're about to see, that hasn't affected the sort of difficult questions I'll be asking. Let me set the stage. When I first came up with these questions, I thought maybe a community manager would answer them. Imagine my surprise when it was nonchalantly mentioned that these questions were going all the way up the chain of command, that the producer of DNA, DecaBear, would be the one to answer them. And even wilder, when he needed additional info about certain things, he contacted the team leaders. There's just one problem. I don't speak Chinese. So we got a little creative about how to handle this. Here's what happened. I came up with a list of questions and sent it over to DNA staff. They translated my questions into Chinese. The devs then answered those questions in Chinese, and DNA staff then translated those answers back into English. And just so everything is crystal clear, I will be reading out my questions, and my good friend Amethyst will be stepping in to read the devs' responses. With all that preamble out of the way, let's dive in. First, I want to thank you, DecaBear, for agreeing to answer my questions. I'm a massive fan of Duet Night Abyss, and getting to be able to do something like this is a huge honor. You guys have had quite a journey since switching your design direction to what we have now. While overall that's been positive, it has left some gameplay aspects lacking. As a result, most of the players have questions about gameplay systems and balancing. So let's start with some gameplay-related questions. Character balance has come up consistently in player feedback. In version 1.2, you attempted to address this with demon wedges, and in version 1.3, you added a 7th Intron for Hellfire and Rebecca. Could you share your current approach to balancing and any upcoming changes players can expect?
Our goal has always been to ensure that every character has a clear role and practical value within the overall ecosystem. As the game evolves, new characters may naturally align more closely with the current environment in terms of mechanics and tuning. However, in the long term, we aim to reduce the gap between new and older characters so players can continue using their preferred units in most non-endgame content without being forced out by the meta.
Weapons are often seen by players as underutilized in combat. As a result, many players feel that you can ignore melee and ranged buttons entirely. How do you plan to address weapon balancing?
In the latest 2 versions, we gradually introduced a number of weapon demon wedges for characters who are designed to fully leverage weapon mechanics. For example, Kujou. Weapon-based builds are already capable of reaching top-tier damage potential. If you haven't tried it yet, we'd encourage you to check it out. In future versions, we plan to introduce dedicated systems, gameplay modes, and events built specifically around weapons with the goal of making them feel more meaningful and rewarding within the overall combat experience.
When you originally designed commissions, DNA was meant to have a stamina system, meaning players were only intended to play a few of them per day. Now that the design of the game has shifted, are there plans to expand or diversify commission gameplay in the future?
For the next step, we'll be introducing new combat-focused gameplay modes. Initially, many of these will appear in the form of limited-time events. Based on player reception and feedback, we'll continue iterating on them, and if players respond positively, we'll consider transitioning them into reoccurring or permanent content.
Because of the current commission structure, progression systems such as demon wedge farming have been described as unrewarding by parts of the community. How is the team approaching improvements to progression pacing and rewards?
We understand that part of this feedback may stem from the current lack of sufficiently challenging content, which can make progression systems like demon wedge farming feel less rewarding. To address this, we plan to introduce more challenging gameplay modes that better test players' builds and progression choices, allowing the effort invested in character development to feel more validated and meaningful. Meanwhile, we'll keep adding more free rewards in limited time events with each update. including cosmetics and myriad resources, and will also introduce permanent systems to further improve the experience.
Support characters such as Truffle, Daphne, and Fushu have dedicated fans, but some players feel their gameplay experience is less engaging. They're powerful, but usually only when controlled by the AI. Will there be any changes to how you approach designing and balancing support playstyles?
We invest just as much thought and design effort into support characters as we do into DPS roles. However, when playing challenging content, players naturally prefer to directly control characters with more precise damage pacing, while entrusting support roles to AI. That said, the idea of actively controlling support characters is genuinely interesting. In the future, we could explore designing support characters who are better suited for player control in some less challenging content, offering a different kind of hands-on gameplay experience.
With recent updates making some activities more AFK-friendly, players have noted a shift towards more passive gameplay. How do you plan to balance accessibility with active engagement?
When the game first launched, many players told us the experience felt too demanding and exhausting. In response, we introduced a series of quality of life changes to reduce grind and allow more content to be played in an AFK-friendly manner. We are aware that this has shifted some experiences towards being more passive. In the future, we'll continue to keep the core experience approachable while gradually introducing more challenging content. We are really looking forward to hearing your thoughts after future updates, as player feedback plays a key role in helping us improve the game.
Players are concerned that DNA has too many gacha elements despite having moved away from being a character gacha. For example, the event structure is closer to that of a gacha game. What are your thoughts on this?
Events are a core component of nearly all long-running live service games. On one hand, they allow us to experiment with new gameplay ideas and offer players fresh experiences each version. On the other, well-received events can evolve into reoccurring modes, or even permanent content, as we've done with Bountiful Day. That said, we acknowledge that the current event UI structure may visually resemble that of traditional gacha-style games, and this is something we'll continue to reflect on.
Controller support has been a recurring concern among players, particularly on mobile. Though I've noticed version 1.3 did a lot to fix it on PC. What improvements or updates are planned in this area?
At the moment, our priority is improving controller support on PC. We are actively optimizing existing issues such as pointer focus behavior and input mode switching. Mobile controller support will arrive in a later version, and we appreciate everyone's patience as we continue refining this area.
This one is for all the people in my comments section who have been asking this for months. Are there any plans to bring DNA to console?
At this time, we do not have plans to bring DNA to console platforms. We'll share updates if this changes in the future.
It's no secret that DNA still has a lot of room to grow with its visuals. This industry is absolutely incredible with the quality of models, environments, and animations it can put out, and I've loved watching DNA catch up over the months. Let's talk animations and visuals for a bit. DNA has gone through many graphical overhauls since the beta tests. Most recently, the updates to Purgatorio Island have been absolutely gorgeous. How does the team plan to evolve the game's visual identity to stand out in a competitive market?
We will continue to improve overall quality. The Firmament Unbound version is just the beginning. Moving forward, we'll place greater emphasis on visual identity and stylistic diversity. In upcoming versions, players will see changes and improvements that are even more noticeable than what was introduced in the current version, so we hope everyone looks forward to what is coming.
Players have noted differences between 2D artwork and in-game 3D models. How do you approach aligning these visual styles?
First and foremost, we respect each character's original design and the intent behind the 2D artwork, what the artists and designers want to express at their best. At the same time, we'll continue improving model quality and detail so that the in-game presentation better aligns with that vision. Rather than making trade-offs between 2D and 3D, our goal is to let them reinforce each other and elevate the overall quality.
Character expressions and animations are an area of feedback from the community. Are there plans to expand facial expressions or idle animations?
We acknowledge that some NPC animations and expressions haven't met our expectations in certain versions. This is something we've taken note of. In future updates, we'll continue improving both quality and production capacity, adding more expressive animations to NPCs and characters alike.
Some character models, particularly older ones and male models, feel less polished compared to newer releases. How do you approach updating or maintaining visual consistency across the roster?
Some early characters do fall behind as the game evolves. In future versions, we'll gradually strengthen and refine older characters, improving their visual quality alongside newer releases to maintain overall consistency.
Many players find Snow's character design off-putting. I love her as a character, but I have to admit to finding her design unappealing as well. A lot of other Lunos are very cute though. Could it be possible for us to collect their outfits for Snow to wear?
That's a great suggestion. We'll definitely discuss it internally. And thank you very much for liking Snow. We truly appreciate the support on her behalf.
Since Lunos love to sell things to us, that seems like a good segue into monetization. A hot topic in the forums is the cash shop, and many players have very specific concerns. Before we get into each question, what are your future plans for incentivizing players to purchase things from the cash shop?
After 4 versions of sales experimentation, combined with survey feedback and back-end data, we've gained clearer insight into player preferences. Moving forward, we'll adjust our production direction more precisely to focus on content players genuinely want. We've also introduced discounted coupons within the game, and future versions will gradually roll out coupons covering different themes to help reduce purchase costs. We truly value player input. Whether it's accessories or outfit themes you'd like to see, please continue sharing feedback through surveys or customer support. The team will actively use the input when planning future content.
Players aren't happy that accessories cannot be dyed and that you need to purchase each color separately. With the addition of Taishu Rover, the same is now true for mounts. Are there plans to evolve these systems?
At present, color variations for accessories and mounts are an important part of our monetization design. To preserve the uniqueness and perceived value of different color options, we don't have plans to shift to a fully open dye system or bundled color access. We appreciate everyone's understanding.
Some games even release dyes in sets that can be purchased once and then used infinitely. Is that a system you could consider exploring?
At this time, we are not considering a buy once unlimited use dye system. However, we fully recognize players' desire for more freedom in customization. Within the current framework, we'll continue increasing access to free dyes through events, logging rewards, and other in-game sources, so customization feels more accessible and less cost-restricted in practice.
Other games in this genre let you purchase universal skins for all characters at once. Could DNA consider doing this in the future? If not, can the prices of each universal skin be reduced?
Rather than reducing the price of universal skins, we prefer to give back to players through free distribution. Some high-quality character-themed skins will be offered through in-game events or permanent exchange systems. For example, Hellfire's skin was distributed for free in the current version. We'll continue refining how these rewards are obtained based on player feedback and data.
Players are sad that their favorite characters don't get skins because they release in the second half of the patch. Can we expect unique skins for every character, and how or when would they be released?
Ensuring that every character eventually receives a unique skin is one of our goals. We've already begun addressing this. In the June update, we created a dedicated outfit for Rebecca, one of our launch characters. Moving forward, alongside new character skins, we'll gradually roll out updates for older characters who missed earlier opportunities.
We're getting a brand new outfit for Rebecca in June? It's great to know old characters won't be forgotten, both in terms of their visuals and their skins. However, there's one thing players want to know about more than anything. We have to address the cybersecurity attacks DNA endured on February 24th and March 18th. For those of you watching this video, I stipulated that I would not do this interview unless I could directly address the hack. That's part of why I was so surprised that it went ahead. Here's what I asked. Players are scared to log into the game after the second hack was able to spread malware, potentially compromising players' sensitive information. What steps has the team taken to ensure player safety and rebuild trust?
We fully understand player concerns and sincerely apologize for the incident. In response to the malware-related risks, we carried out a comprehensive security overhaul rather than a temporary fix. First, We've deployed real-time monitoring and automated alert systems across our core assets, including critical game files, servers, and key data interfaces, allowing us to detect abnormal behavior much earlier. Second, internally, we've reinforced a strict minimum network and access principle. All external entry points, including ports, paths, and access keys, have gone through comprehensive audits and consolidation to ensure only what is absolutely necessary remains exposed. On top of that, for all remaining sensitive access points, we've implemented tighter access control lists and whitelist-based permissions to further reduce potential risk. We fully understand that defending against malicious hacking is a long-term effort. We will continue to monitor, reinforce, and maintain our security measures so players can enjoy the game with greater peace of mind.
After the second incident, you released a message stating that the attack was a, quote, wake-up call. Why wasn't the first incident considered a wake-up call?
Looking back, we have to acknowledge that our initial judgment in handling the first situation fell short. At the time, we viewed it as an isolated anomaly. The second incident made it clear that our risk assessment and response standards needed to be elevated. Since then, we've adjusted not only our technical solutions, but also our internal security classification, response protocols, and decision-making processes. It's a lesson we wish we hadn't had to learn this way, but one we must face honestly.
How did your team determine the compensation offered to players following the second hack? In light of community feedback that the rewards felt insufficient, are there any plans to revisit or expand that compensation for affected players?
At the time, our primary focus was restoring normal operations as quickly as possible, and we didn't fully account for the emotional gap players experienced. In hindsight, compensation isn't just about resources, it's about whether players are willing to continue trusting the game afterwards. We've taken this feedback seriously and will be working towards more comprehensive compensation approaches in the future. We've carefully reviewed player feedback and understand that some felt the compensation fell short, and we accept that. Losses caused by our own issues can't be perfectly offset with items alone. The compensation was intended first as a clear expression of apology. It's also worth noting that the compensation was designed based on what we believe to be a relatively high standard for that stage of the game, but we recognize that there was still a gap between our expectations and how players actually felt. Going forward, we won't treat compensation as a closing action, but as a starting point for continued improvement. Our focus will be on long-term safety and stability along with the sustained content updates, allowing players to feel that recovery is ongoing, not a one-off.
Do you feel the current communication between the team and players is where you want it to be?
No, our current level of communication is still far from our ideal of being transparent, timely, two-way, and grounded. We've heard the call for clearer progress updates and more transparent decision-making. In the future, we'll move toward more consistent and proactive communication, explore more direct ways to stay in touch, and continue welcoming feedback across all channels.
What would you say to concerns that the game will EOS or won't last the year?
We understand recent events have caused anxiety. We want to be clear. Our core objective remains operating Duet Night Abyss as a stable long-term project. Since launch, the team has continued pushing forward with planned major updates including new characters, new gameplay content, and ongoing system expansion. While external issues did arise, our internal development cadence never stopped, and our level of investment in the project has not decreased. As for the recent security incidents, this was something we neither wanted nor could ignore. Afterward, we carried out a fairly comprehensive overhaul of our security framework, not just patching individual problems, but reassessing the structure of our protection and response mechanisms to reduce the likelihood of similar issues in the future. We are also very aware that trust isn't restored through a single statement. Rather than asking players to immediately regain confidence, we believe the right approach is to demonstrate change over time, through stable operations, consistent content updates, and how we handle issues moving forward.
I really appreciate and respect these candid answers. It must be difficult for the dev team to go through this as well as the players. Viewers may have heard rumors of a third hack on DNA, but I'm happy to confirm that the source code leak was not a third hack, and DNA has been safe ever since the incident on March 18th. Speaking of the future, I want to hear some hints about what's coming later and how DNA came to be in the first place. What are the main inspirations behind the game and its characters?
Our inspiration comes from long-term engagement with anime culture and a deep experience with high-quality action games. As both a producer and a heavy player, I saw growing demand for anime-style games that meaningfully combine story and combat, where character personalities and experiences are felt through gameplay, not just pure text. That vision has guided Duet Night Abyss from the start. Our goal has been the same from day one: make the combat feel solid and fun, and give the story and characters enough weight to be worth players' time and long-term attachment. As development goes on, we'll keep refining the game and making sure this comes across more clearly.
Does Pan Studio have any other projects lined up?
No.
This is your first game project as a studio. What has been the most challenging aspect of launching the game?
The greatest challenge has been sustaining progress under pressure while continuously improving quality. From launch to now, we've remained committed to refinement and have gradually found a path that truly belongs to Duet Night Abyss, strengthening the world, the story, and the tone, and focusing on content that resonates with players.
Do you have any advice for game devs?
Development is rarely smooth. Challenges and setbacks are the norm. Stay focused on content, on your original intent, on what you do best, and on serving players sincerely.
Can you share an example of feedback that directly changed a decision internally?
There are many examples, from smaller gameplay improvements like adding sprint feature late in testing, to feedback that indirectly pushed us to rethink our entire monetization model. Player feedback, encouragement, and support have continuously driven Duet Night Abyss forward. We are deeply grateful to those who stood by us during difficult times, just like light in the dark.
Looking back, how do you reflect on the decision to shift from a character gacha model to a cosmetic-focused approach?
It was a high-risk and imperfect decision. After several rounds of testing, we realized that continuing to rely on character gacha as the primary monetization model might be easier in the short term, but over time it would increasingly amplify power anxiety and place constraints on both narrative and gameplay designs. That direction conflicted with how we hoped players would stay with the game and with the original intent behind the project. After running this approach for several versions, it's also clear that cosmetic monetization is not a one-time solution. It places much higher demands on content quality, production consistency, and our ability to listen carefully to player feedback around aesthetics and perceived value. Revenue grows more slowly, and it forces us to be more disciplined in execution. That said, at this stage, we believe it's a more sustainable direction and one that better respects player choice. It's still evolving and not a finished answer, but it's a path we feel is worth continuing to refine.
Are there any major systems or features currently in development that you're particularly excited about?
There are a few things that we can share. We are continuously working on reducing grind across mobile controls, materials, and systems. Endgame content is another major focus. This has been one of the most frequently discussed topics among players, and you'll start seeing more of it introduced in upcoming versions. Beyond that, there are many other systems and gameplay features currently in development, and a large portion of them are directly driven by player feedback and suggestions we've received over time.
The story of DNA is so dark compared to many other live service anime games. Personally, I love that. What made you decide to write a story like this?
This was a deliberate choice. We are less interested in simple good versus evil narratives and more focused on how people make choices under extreme circumstances and the consequences of those choices. Darkness isn't the goal. We avoid exploiting suffering for shock value. Instead, we want players to feel a grounded, weighty sense of immersion where choices matter and leave lasting traces.
Amanda Aiken sang the main theme of DNA, and Emma Ballantyne is Fox Hunter's voice actress. Is it a coincidence, or do the devs really like Final Fantasy XIV too?
It really is a fortunate coincidence. Our casting process was blind initially, and working with Emma turned out to be a matter of mutual fit. And Amanda Aiken had previously collaborated with Zoe, our music director, so she was a natural choice when creating the theme song. There are indeed fans of the Final Fantasy series on our team as well.
If players check back in 6 months, what do you hope will have changed their perception of the game?
We hope players genuinely feel the game is moving in a positive direction. Over the past 6 months, we've continued making improvements to visuals and gameplay experience, while also expanding our monetization offerings with more direct purchase cosmetics and shop items. The goal has always been to provide content that feels worthwhile and enjoyable, allowing players to play the way they want and have fun doing so. Since announcing the move away from character and weapon gacha, the development team has put significant effort into supporting that decision. We are very aware that this shift created a chain of follow-up challenges, and not every attempt or implementation along the way was perfect. Thus, we are grateful for the community's patience, understanding, and continued support throughout this process. We also noticed that during the early stages, some players stepped away due to unsatisfactory experiences. Looking ahead to the 6-month mark or beyond, we sincerely hope those players will consider checking back in and see the improvements we've made across visuals, gameplay, and overall experience, and perhaps feel it's worth giving the game another try.
And finally, can you give us a hint or teaser for an upcoming character?
We've already shared that the next version will introduce Flora in Luno's Bulletin number 6. We've also noticed overseas players speculating about future playable characters. Without spoiling too much, some characters you've already encountered in the story will indeed become playable and meet you again sooner than you might expect. Please stay tuned.
Oh, I really hope Katia is one of them. That wraps up the interview. Thank you again to DecaBear for so thoroughly answering everything, to the team leads who provided further information, and to the staff who translated all this. I did my best to think of all the biggest questions everyone had, regardless of how sensitive they might be. If you're a fan of DNA, I hope I managed to do you proud. That said, if I've missed any questions that you would have asked, drop them in the comments and maybe I'll get another opportunity like this one day. Coincidentally, I've already talked about characters in DNA's story that might be coming soon, and since they're semi-confirmed now, you should check out this video to see who you can look forward to getting your hands on.